The Unopened Letter, a story about words left unsaid. He wrote the letter, but never sent it. It wasn't his first attempt, but it was the first time the words made it onto the page. He sat beneath the soft glow of a flickering lamp, pen trembling between his fingers, paper spread before him like a quiet sea waiting to be crossed. Outside, the city had hushed itself into sleep, and inside, something in him had quieted too. For years, the words had pressed against the walls of his chest, rising in his throat like tides that never broke the shore. But tonight, they surged forward. The pen touched the page. "Dear Eleanor," he wrote. Her name startled him, the way it curved beneath his hand, the way the ink bled gently into the fibers of the paper, as though the page itself remembered her. He hesitated, then wrote, "I'm sorry." The words unlocked the flood. Sentence after sentence spilled from him, rough at first, then flowing, faster, tumbling onto the paper as if they'd been waiting all these years just to be seen. "I should have stayed. I should have listened. I should have fought for us. I never stopped loving you." The ink wrapped around his confessions, looping them into fragile black rivers. He wrote of the day he left, of the train station, of the way she had stood on the platform, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, her eyes shining but unyielding. He had watched her shrink in the distance until she disappeared, and after she vanished, it was as if a door in him had closed softly but irrevocably. He wrote of childhood memories, how they'd raced bicycles down the long hill behind the school, how she'd beaten him every time, her hair flying behind her like a banner, how even then he had loved the sound of her laughter as much as he feared the speed of his own wheels. He wrote of the small, quiet moments, the way she bit her lip while reading, the way she hummed absent-mindedly in the kitchen, the way her hands fluttered in the air when she argued, as if sculpting her words from the very space around her. He wrote of what he couldn't give her, the ring she had once shown him in a shop window when they were young and foolish and still believed time was theirs to command. He had smiled then, thinking there would be time enough. But time, he had learned, is a sly thief. He wrote of his failures, of the walls he built, the silences he carved, the pride that kept him from returning even when every part of him ached to be home. And finally, when his pen trembled and the candle burned low, he wrote, "I hope you found someone who deserved you better than I ever could." The page lay full before him, a map of old wounds stitched together in ink, not perfect, not polished, but honest. He folded the letter carefully, once, twice, 3 times, as though folding a fragile part of himself inside its creases. He sealed it in an envelope, traced her name once more across the front, his finger lingering on each letter like a benediction. He held it to his chest, closed his eyes, and whispered, "Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll send it." But tomorrow came, and he wasn't ready. The letter went back into the drawer, and the drawer closed like a gentle vault. Another tomorrow came, and another, and another. Days melted into weeks, weeks folded into months, months stretched into years. The letter waited, quiet, patient. He carried it through seasons, past spring rains and autumn leaves, past winter frost and summer suns. Sometimes he opened the drawer just to touch it, to remind himself it was still there. "Not yet," he'd murmur. "I need the right words." The right moment. But the right moment never came. He fell in love again, or something like it. He married, raised children, built a life. But even on his happiest days, the letter stayed in the drawer. A quiet hum beneath the music of birthdays and anniversaries. A small shadow flickering behind every candle blown out. Time's thief crept closer. His hair grayed, his hands trembled, his reflection blurred. But the letter remained. Sometimes, at night, he dreamed of her. In his dreams, she stood across a river, dressed in light. Sometimes she smiled, sometimes she turned away. Sometimes she simply watched, silent, waiting. The drawer became harder to open. His knees ached, his breath shortened, and then, one morning, the drawer felt lighter. He opened it, and the letter was gone. No envelope, no paper, no trace. He searched beneath books, between old love letters, under forgotten photographs. But it was nowhere. Only the empty space remained. He sat down beside the drawer, hands in his lap, heart strangely hollow, and at last he understood. Some words, if left unsaid too long, do not stay. Some words fade. They slip between the cracks of memory. They dissolve into the silence between hearts growing distant. And by the time courage arrives, sometimes the person we needed to hear them is no longer listening. He gazed out the window as the last light left the sky, feeling the weight of everything he never said pressing against him, heavier than any letter could hold. And in that quiet, he wondered, would it have changed anything? Would the words have mattered? Or were they always meant to stay locked inside, like echoes in an empty room, like footsteps in a house long abandoned? He never wrote another letter again, not because he had nothing left to say, but because the words had nowhere left to go. Some doors, once closed, never open again. Tell me, what's the letter you've been carrying in silence? Who is the person you're waiting to be ready for? And if today were your last chance, would you send it? If this story brought someone to mind, maybe today's the day to send your letter. Leave a comment below. Who is your letter for? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after they end.